If you are hearing this now, heaven already marked this moment. What felt like delay was divine protection. Tonight is not random. It is the shift you prayed for but did not expect. Chosen one, you didn't scroll into this by accident. This message crossed your path because your name was already whispered in places you cannot see. Something ancient, intentional, and precise is unfolding right now, and your spirit felt the pull before your mind could explain it. There has been a quiet weight on your heart, hasn't there? A season where answers stayed just out of reach, where you kept moving but felt watched by silence. You questioned yourself in the dark. You replayed moments, wondering if you missed God, if you misunderstood the calling, if the waiting meant you were forgotten. But chosen one, heaven never lost sight of you. Even in the shadows, there was investigation happening on your behalf. Doors examined, motives tested, timelines adjusted. The pauses were not punishment, they were alignment. You survived battles no one applauded. Smiles hid exhaustion. Faith stood where clarity failed. There were nights when all you had was a whisper of hope and a memory of promise. Yet still, you stayed standing. That's not coincidence. That's evidence. Light doesn't announce itself loudly at first. It creeps in, subtle, steady, undeniable. And tonight, that light is breaking through what once felt immovable. Chosen one, before we go deeper, pause for a moment, hit subscribe and comment, "I received this," if your spirit is already responding. Because this message is not entertainment, it's participation. It's a step of agreement. Something shifts when you say yes, even quietly. Hear this clearly now. God said tonight was the turning point. The waiting season has reached its appointed end. What you thought was hidden is being revealed. What was delayed is being released. The confusion begins to make sense when you realize timing was protecting purpose. You were being prepared in secret for a moment that could only arrive when you were ready to carry it. Stay here, chosen one. Lean in. A truth is about to surface, one that will explain the silence, redeem the struggle, and confirm what you've always felt deep down. This message is not just for you. It was sent to you. And what comes next changes everything. Chosen one, let us begin gently here, because this moment deserves reverence. Tonight is not loud, rushed, or dramatic in the way the world defines change. It is quiet, intentional, and heavy with meaning. This is not just a breakthrough you stumbled into. It is a convergence, a sacred meeting point where your prayers, your patience, and God's timing finally arrive at the same place. Heaven marked this moment long before your heart felt ready to believe it. And if you're listening right now, ask yourself, why now? Why did this message find you in this exact state, in this exact season? There were nights you prayed without words when all you could offer God was endurance. You kept showing up even when nothing moved. That matters more than you know, because some moments are not activated by urgency or striving, but by consistency, by staying when it would have been easier to leave, by trusting when clarity refused to come. This moment carries weight because it did not come early. It came on time. And timing like this is never accidental. It is deliberate, tested, and protected. You see, heaven does not rush destiny. Certain doors are not opened by desire alone. They are unlocked by preparation. God watched how you handled the waiting, how you spoke in silence, how you treated others when you felt unseen. This moment matters because it comes after refinement, after your character was shaped in the dark, after your faith learned how to breathe without constant reassurance. Can you feel the difference between impatience and readiness? Because heaven can. Chosen one, understand this. What you are stepping into now could not have held the earlier version of you. The delay was not denial, it was development. If it had come sooner, it would have overwhelmed you. But now there is a steadiness in your spirit that wasn't there before, a depth in your understanding, a quiet authority that doesn't need to announce itself. This is why this moment feels different. It's not explosive, it's grounded. And here's the revelation that brings peace. Moments like this are investigated in heaven before they manifest on earth. Angels are assigned, paths are aligned, resistance is reduced. That's why things begin to shift subtly before they shift visibly. That's why your spirit sensed something changing before your circumstances confirmed it. Have you noticed how your reactions are different now? How what once triggered you no longer has the same power? So stay present, chosen one. Don't rush past this convergence. Breathe in what God is doing. Let this moment settle into you. Because this isn't just about what's happening around you. It's about what's being sealed within you. And as we move forward, you'll begin to see that this was never just a turning point in your story. It was the moment your preparation finally met its purpose. Chosen one, there are seasons where God's greatest work is not in what He allows, but in what He quietly stops. Not every closed door was rejection. Not every unanswered message was loss. Some things disappeared from your path because heaven intervened when you were too close to see the danger. And in the moment, it felt confusing, almost cruel, because you couldn't yet see what was being preserved within you. But now in this stillness, ask yourself gently, what didn't work out that once felt essential? There were opportunities you were excited about, connections you prayed would last, paths you believed were meant to unfold smoothly. When they fell apart, you questioned your discernment. You wondered if you heard God incorrectly or if your faith wasn't strong enough. But understand this, chosen one. A divine protection often arrives disguised as disappointment. God doesn't always announce His rescue. Sometimes He simply removes what would have slowly drained your strength, your peace, and your purpose. Behind the scenes, conversations were stopped, access was limited, and outcomes were redirected. People who would have benefited from your light without honoring your worth were quietly moved away. Environments that would have required you to shrink were blocked before they could fully claim you. And although it hurt at the time, that pain was lighter than the damage those paths would have caused had they continued. Can you see it now? Can you feel how different your spirit is because those doors stayed closed? Chosen one, God knows the weight you carry. He knows how deeply you give, how easily you pour yourself out when you believe something is sacred. That's why certain things were not allowed to attach themselves to your future. Heaven examined the long-term effect, not just the immediate desire. What you called delay was actually God saying, not this way, not with them, not at this cost. And here is the gentle truth that brings healing. Nothing God stopped was meant to last. It served its purpose by ending. It revealed what needed to be revealed, then stepped aside. You were not being punished, you were being protected. What left your life made room for clarity, stability, and peace that would not have survived in crowded, misaligned spaces. So take a breath here, chosen one. Release the regret. Stop replaying what could have been. If God had allowed it, it would have harmed you more than helped you. And now that those unseen interruptions have done their work, you can move forward lighter, wiser, and more grounded. Because what is coming next will require all of you, undivided, unburdened, and fully aligned. Chosen one, there was a test placed before you that never came with instructions, never announced itself, and never asked for your permission. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic. It didn't look spiritual on the outside. It simply showed up as silence, as waiting, as days where nothing moved and nights where heaven felt distant. And yet this was one of the most important examinations of your life because it measured who you were when no one was watching, when nothing was rewarding you, and when faith had to exist without evidence. You weren't tested on how loudly you praised or how confidently you spoke. You were tested on whether you would remain when it would have been easier to withdraw, whether you would stay soft in a hard season, whether you would keep your integrity intact when disappointment tried to reshape you. Many would have grown bitter there. Many would have shut down, hardened their hearts, or abandoned what they once believed. But you didn't. Even when your understanding ran out, your commitment didn't. And heaven noticed that. There were moments you felt isolated, not because you were abandoned, but because you were being refined. Some journeys cannot be crowded. Some lessons require quiet. God watched how you spoke when prayers went unanswered. He observed how you treated others when your own needs felt unmet. He saw whether delay would turn you against Him or deepen your trust. And chosen one, your response spoke louder than any declaration ever could. Understand this now. Consistency under confusion is a rare kind of obedience. You kept showing up without applause. You kept believing without reassurance. You kept moving forward even when direction felt unclear. That wasn't weakness. That was maturity forming. That was spiritual strength being built in the dark. Can you see how much weight that carries? Can you feel why this season had to be walked through slowly? Heaven measures readiness differently than the world. It looks for endurance, not excitement. It values faithfulness over urgency. And you passed this hidden test because you didn't demand constant signs. You trusted the one who promised. Your willingness to wait without walking away proved you could be trusted with more. Not because you were perfect, but because you were willing. So let this settle in your spirit. Chosen one. You didn't miss anything. You didn't fail. You didn't fall behind. You were being observed, strengthened, and prepared in ways you couldn't yet perceive. And now that this unseen test is complete, what comes next will feel different. Because you are different. The silence shaped you. The delay trained you. And the reward for quiet faith is about to reveal itself in a way that makes every moment of waiting make sense. Chosen one, have you noticed how, just when you sense the dawn of a new season, a shadow stirs within, a whisper of doubt, a twinge of anxiety, a heaviness in your chest that you thought had lifted? That is fear, not your enemy, but a messenger, signaling that the old season is truly ending. Fear often returns right before a breakthrough, not because you are failing, but because something monumental is moving behind the scenes. It is as if the universe itself is pausing, holding its breath, waiting for you to step into what has already been prepared for you. Can you feel it? That subtle tremor in your spirit that says, something is changing, but I am not sure if I can handle it? That is the exact moment God wants you to recognize the difference between illusion and reality. In the silence of your waiting, fear often masqueraded as truth, convincing you that the delay meant denial, that isolation meant abandonment, that disappointment meant you were not enough. But chosen one, tonight is proof that fear was never meant to define you. Fear resurfaces now not to trap you, but to clarify your resolve. Its return is a divine test of trust, a final examination of faith under pressure. It wants to see if you will step forward despite trembling hands, if you will rise even when the heart hesitates. And here is the sacred truth. Every time fear visited, and you chose obedience over panic, patience over despair, you were proving your readiness for what is coming. Do you feel that weight lifting as you hear this? That is the alignment of your spirit with God's timing. Fear is not a failure. Fear is a signal. It is the final tremor before the mountain moves. It is the soft but undeniable nudge that tells you, prepare yourself, chosen one, because the heavens are aligning and your path is about to open wide. So when you feel that subtle panic, do not recoil. Lean into it. Listen closely. It is confirming the shift you prayed for, the shift you didn't realize you were ready to embrace. Ask yourself, am I willing to trust beyond the fear, beyond the shadow, beyond the doubt? Because the moment you say yes, the very thing that tried to paralyze you transforms into proof of your victory. And chosen one, pause here for a sacred moment. Breathe deeply, feel your spirit awaken, and let your heart whisper, I trust you, Lord. Because fear returning is not a setback. It is your signal that God's move is imminent, that the shift is real, that the breakthrough you have been waiting for is standing just beyond the veil, ready to sweep away everything that once held you back. Can you feel it stirring inside? That quiet excitement that says, the wait is over, the season has changed, and I am being lifted higher. That is your destiny calling, and it will not wait any longer. Chosen one, take a moment and feel the subtle stirring within your spirit, the quiet shift that says something is no longer the same. Tonight, the air itself seems charged with purpose, and if you are listening closely, you can sense the gentle unveiling of change. What begins from this point forward is not sudden chaos or forced transformation. It is a gradual, divine orchestration that moves with precision, timing, and heavenly wisdom. The first thing to understand is that transformation always begins inside. Your heart, mind, and spirit are being recalibrated to recognize what belongs to you and what was never meant to stay. Have you felt that clarity creeping into your thoughts? That subtle understanding that confusion no longer holds dominion over your decisions, that pressure is softening into a divine rhythm, and that the heaviness you once carried is being lifted. This is the beginning of your realignment, the sacred turning of a page in your story. From this moment, chosen one, the unseen becomes more tangible. Doors that were once closed with forceful resistance now begin to open with natural ease. Opportunities that felt out of reach are being drawn toward you, not by luck, but by divine magnetism, heavenly timing converging with your readiness. Every delay, every detour, every moment of waiting has prepared you to walk into this season with discernment. Ask yourself, do I see the paths that were invisible before? Do I feel the peace settling over what once felt urgent or unresolved? That peace is God's signature on your journey, a confirmation that the change is authentic, intentional, and irreversible. But transformation is not only external, it is the silent, internal victory that matters most. Your mindset is shifting, chosen one, replacing doubt with certainty, fear with courage, hesitation with faith. You will notice how your spirit responds differently to challenges, how your prayers feel more alive, and how your choices begin reflecting a higher wisdom you may have only glimpsed in dreams. Can you sense it already? The alignment of your soul with God's plan, the internal compass pointing unmistakably toward purpose? Every small victory, every new clarity, every sense of calm that replaces your past anxiety is proof that the shift has begun. Tonight marks the threshold where your story pivots. The change is gradual, yes, but undeniable. What felt stagnant starts moving. What felt confusing becomes illuminated. And chosen one, as these transformations unfold, you are being trained to recognize that divine timing is not measured in hours or days, but in alignment, an alignment that God has been meticulously preparing you for. This is not the end of the waiting. It is the beginning of seeing the fruits of all your endurance, your patience, and your faith. The external doors will open as your internal world catches up, and the world around you will respond to the readiness that has been quietly building inside. So pause for a moment and feel this truth sink in. The change is already inside you. The new direction, the clarity, the peace, the open doors, they are all reflections of a deeper transformation that cannot be rushed or replicated. Ask yourself now, am I ready to step fully into this alignment? Am I willing to move with the shift instead of resisting it? Because from this point forward, chosen one, your path is no longer determined by what was, but by what God is orchestrating right before your eyes. And as you prepare to step through, remember, every moment of waiting was simply preparing you for this awakening. Chosen one, as the doors of this new season begin to open, there is a quiet, sacred invitation waiting for you. An invitation not to rush, not to force, but to align gently with what God is orchestrating. You see, true alignment is not about exertion or striving. It is about surrender. It is the soft, unshakable knowing that God is already at work, moving in ways unseen, speaking in ways subtle, and guiding in ways that cannot always be measured by human timing. Have you felt that gentle pull in your spirit? The whisper that says, "Move with me slowly, step with me intentionally"? That is your signal that heaven is not asking for speed, but for harmony with the rhythm of the divine. To align with God now, chosen one, begins with stillness. There is profound power in rest, in pausing long enough to hear the whispers above the noise of life. It is in these quiet moments that clarity surfaces, that direction becomes undeniable, in that the heart's tension dissolves into trust. Ask yourself, am I willing to slow down long enough to hear his voice clearly? Am I ready to let go of my agenda, my anxiety, and my need to control what only God can orchestrate? Alignment is found in these small acts of surrender, sitting with your spirit, listening deeply, and feeling the gentle nudges that guide your next steps. Obedience is the second thread of alignment. But this is not obedience that comes from fear or pressure. It is obedience that comes from love and trust. Every small act of faith, every choice to follow, even when the path is not fully visible, strengthens your connection to God's unfolding plan. Have you noticed how opportunities now seem to present themselves naturally? That is the result of obedience aligning with divine timing. Your responsiveness to these quiet nudges matters more than the speed of your movement, for the steps taken in faith resonate with heaven's timing far more than any hurried action could. Finally, sensitivity is the third dimension of true alignment. The world may scream for urgency, for noise, for dramatic action, but God's movement is often subtle, layered, and precise. The chosen one learns to feel, to perceive, and to discern the sacred from the ordinary. It is in being grounded, attentive, and responsive that you walk fully in harmony with the divine shift. Can you sense the unfolding? Can you feel how each moment of attentiveness opens a door that impatience would have missed? So, chosen one, let this be your practice tonight. Pause, breathe, and allow God's Spirit to lead. Rest in His timing, move with His guidance, respond with trust. Alignment is not a race, it is a dance, a sacred rhythmic dance with the unseen, orchestrated by heaven itself. Every step taken in quiet surrender strengthens your readiness for what is coming. And as you walk forward, remember, the shift has already begun. The doors are opening, the clarity is settling, the peace is rising. Your role now is simply to move with reverence, listen with intention, and trust with the unshakable certainty that God's hand is guiding every detail. Chosen one, this is your moment to align, not by force, but by faith. And the journey ahead will unfold with beauty, purpose, and divine precision beyond anything you have imagined.